There is a lot happening right now with the God of War franchise, and honestly, the future has never looked more interesting. Between rumors of a brand new mainline game, ongoing speculation about remastered classics, and reports of a completely new spin-off project, it genuinely feels like God of War is entering another major era. So today, we're gonna break down everything we currently know, including the status of God of War 6, what's really going on with the remaster rumors, and a reported spin-off that could take the series in a very different and exciting direction. Let's start with the biggest topic of all, God of War 6. According to multiple industry rumors, God of War 6 has been in development for several years now, following the release of God of War Ragnarok. In fact, reports from Insider Gaming suggest that development may have begun even before Ragnarok officially launched. While that might sound surprising at first, it actually makes a lot of sense when you consider the scale, ambition, and production time required for modern God of War titles. These are not small projects. Each mainline entry takes years of planning, writing, motion capture, and technical development. So the idea that early work began before Ragnarok released isn't unrealistic at all. More recently, Santa Monica Studio posted 2 new job listings for an unannounced project. What makes these listings particularly interesting is that both descriptions specifically mention that familiarity with competitive action adventure games, along with a strong personal understanding of God of War, would be highly beneficial. Now, this is not an official announcement by any means. However, it is a very strong indication that Santa Monica Studio is actively working on another God of War title. And when you combine these job listings with previous insider reports, all signs point towards this being the next mainline game in the series. That naturally leads to the big question: where does the story go next? The Norse saga officially concluded with Ragnarok, wrapping up Kratos and Atreus' journey through Scandinavian mythology. Because of that, many fans believe the next game will move into an entirely new mythological setting. Egyptian mythology has been rumored for years, Japanese mythology is another popular theory, and some fans even speculate about Aztec or Mayan influences. Whatever direction Santa Monica Studio chooses, one thing is very clear: Kratos' journey is far from over. Whether he continues evolving as a character or faces an entirely new version of himself, the foundation is already there for the next chapter to feel both fresh and meaningful. Now let's move on to the topic that caused a lot of excitement and ultimately disappointment. Earlier this year, the God of War remaster rumors. For a while, there were widespread claims that Sony was preparing a major announcement to celebrate the franchise's 20th anniversary. According to these rumors, we were supposedly getting remastered versions of the original God of War games, potentially bundled together as a modern collection for PlayStation 5. Naturally, fans were thrilled by this idea. A remastered Greek-era collection, especially with modern visuals, improved performance, and quality of life updates, is something the community has wanted for a very long time. However, when the 20th anniversary finally arrived, the reality was far less exciting. Instead of remastered games, Sony announced free PS5 $, a gallery-style exhibition, new merchandise, and additional DLC content for God of War Ragnarok, and that was it. The complete absence of any remastered game announcement strongly suggests that the earlier reports were either inaccurate or entirely false. There was no teaser, no confirmation, and no indication that such a collection is anywhere close to release. There are also separate rumors claiming that Sony may have considered remasters at one point, but later decided to put those plans ice. As of right now, there is no solid evidence that remastered versions of the original God of War games are actively in development. And if we're being completely honest, Sony's remaster strategy over the past few years has been very selective. The company clearly prioritizes a small number of IPs, most notably The Last of Us, which has received multiple remasters and re-releases, even though many fans never actually asked for them. So, while a God of War remastered collection would undoubtedly be successful, there is currently no reliable indication that it's happening anytime soon. Now, this is where things get genuinely exciting. Multiple insiders have reported that Sony is currently funding a God of War spin-off, and this project is very different from what we're used to. According to these reports, the spin-off is a 2.5D Metroidvania-style game set during the Greek era of God of War. Even more interestingly, the game's main protagonist is said to be Deimos, Kratos' brother. This alone makes the project incredibly intriguing, as Deimos is a character with deep ties to Kratos' past but very little modern exploration. Focusing on him opens the door to new stories while still remaining firmly rooted in the franchise's brutal origins. The gameplay is reportedly designed to feel much closer to the classic hack and slash combat of the original trilogy, rather than the heavier, cinematic, over-the-shoulder style introduced during the Norse saga. Tom Henderson has also stated that this spin-off will be smaller in scope, comparable to titles like Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown, or Metroid Dread. That suggests tighter level design, faster pacing, and a much stronger emphasis on pure gameplay rather than massive open environments or long cinematic sequences. If these reports are accurate, this spin-off could be an excellent way to revisit Greek mythology, while also experimenting with a new format, all without interfering with the mainline series. When you step back and look at the bigger picture, the future of God of War actually looks very strong. We potentially have a new mainline God of War game already deep in development, a Greek-era spin-off that brings the series back to its roots in a fresh and creative way. And while remasters seem unlikely for now, the demand for them clearly hasn't gone anywhere. This approach would allow Sony to expand the franchise without oversaturating it, offering both massive cinematic experiences and smaller, more experimental projects. At this point, nothing has been officially confirmed, but all signs suggest that God of War is far from finished. Whether you prefer the brutal rage of Greek-era Kratos or the more emotional, reflective version from the Norse saga, there is a lot to be excited about. But now I want to hear from you. What do you want next from God of War? A full remake of the original trilogy, an entirely new mythology, or does the spin-off idea sound more appealing? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to subscribe for more gaming news, rumors, and updates. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.